All right. Final week without Bryan. What's wrong with you?
Man, I got my butt kicked last week. I don't want to do any more skits.
What are you talking about?
Come here. I'm telling you right now, he hears everything we're talking about. We need to do a skit without him.
Don't be ridiculous. He's not real.
He beat the hell out of me last week.
How did he beat the hell out of you? He's a cardboard cutout.
How hard it is for me to walk right now?
Ooh. Really?
Yes!
He's just being ridiculous. Come on, let's go get something to drink. You seem like you need a drink.
We're not using him this week. I need you to agree to me. We're not using him this week.
Fine, we won't use him this week. All right, let's go. Go on.
You get a Red Bull.
Cause it's got
Hey man, so sick and tired of this shit. I told you. Lucas told you too. He's been trying to hurt us the whole week. Just move. He's not doing anything. Nope, not doing it this week. He beat me up last week. I'm gonna beat him up this week. Nope, you mom, man. No. Yeah, put you in there. And that's how we do that. Let's start the show.
Recording at 12920 Philadelphia Street, Whittier, California. Understood Comics. Keeping Up with the Nerds presents issue 134. My name is Rene Bravo.
Nick Valero.
And welcome to the show, everyone.
Hey! Nice.
You know what's fun? I didn't even think about it. I was kind of just it's 134.
Yeah, that's what we needed. We needed that safety net going.
Right.
I feel more professional now. I feel like we have a better understanding because there's a lot of the times when Bryan's here.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that we're useless, but
he makes you second guess yourself.
But I was gonna say, a lot of the times we do mess around and we just kind of let Bryan do everything.
That's true.
We do mess around a lot.
We do mess around a lot. Yeah.
And it's kind of like, oh yeah, or I'm actively trying to make Bryan mad. Or I'm just going
for the sake of the joke.
Just for the sake of the joke, just to see what he does.
Yeah.
And these past 3 weeks, I feel like me and you have been going okay, we can't mess around.
We're more calm. Yeah,
we're way more calm.
Yeah.
We can't mess around. We only have so much time.
It's definitely a reality check with Bryan gone. Yeah. If you guys don't know, Bryan will return next week on issue 134. So this is
135.
135.
Today's 134.
I was thinking 135, and my brain went 134.
Yes, Bryan will be back 135.
135.
He is going to be in our Valentine's Day episode that we just recently recorded. That should be recording on. That should be coming out on the 14th.
On the 14th, he said it might be a part 2, depending on how he edits it.
Yes.
So we'll have part 1 maybe the 13th and part 2 on the 14th.
Yeah. So we'll have more information as that kind of comes through.
Follow our social medias, guys, to get updated on all of our stuff here on both Instagram and Twitter. and Facebook as well too. So you keep up to date with our upload schedule.
Absolutely, yes. So we're gonna jump straight into the show.
With Bryan gone, we also have
alcohol.
We got alcohol.
No, I'm just joking. It's not alcohol. These are just monsters with San Diego.
San Diego monsters. No, we figured, with one last hurrah with Bryan gone, and we can't do this normally. So.
Oh, that's delightful.
That is really good.
That's good.
Yeah.
Mission Brewery.
That's
San Diego.
Mm-hmm.
That's nice. Okay.
All right.
Anyway, besides
consuming
the really like taking in the 2 minutes. So we got a pretty cool show today. We're going to talk about a couple of things. Yeah. We're going to talk about The Last of Us, and then our big thing is we're going to be talking about the DC announcement.
Yes, the big thing that came out, I think it was a Friday, right?
No, it was a Tuesday.
It was a Tuesday?
31st. It was literally
James Gunn's last day, too.
So we'll get into that at the end of the show, so stick with us and everything else. We're going to try and keep this as tight as possible, but you know how it is.
Yes.
Sometimes it doesn't happen. But to start off, I wanted to get into it because coming up in the next 2 weeks, we just got the announcement for we'll talk about this for comic strips, I guess. Yeah. Super Bowl announced what trailers will be coming out. Yeah. And they gave a pretty hefty list of movies that should be coming out with brand new trailers. So we have Guardians of the Galaxy, Volume 3, The Flash, Fast 10, so Fast X.
And then another Ant-Man and Wasp.
Yeah. It already has a trailer on YouTube with over 27 million views. So I'm not so that was the final trailer. It cuz even in their marketing it said final trailer for the movie. So I'm assuming if they're going to have another one, there might just be either a longer trailer or it's going to be a trailer with footage that we've already seen from all three.
Or it could be a clip.
Which also that would be pretty cool. I wouldn't mind having the clip where Ant-Man and Kang are in the room and they're just talking. I think that would be kind of cool.
That'd be interesting.
So we also have The Little Mermaid, The Elemental, which
that's a Pixar movie.
It's the brand new Pixar movie. It's all about like the elements and living their lives and stuff like that. It's pretty cool. We have Scream 6.
Yes.
Dungeons and Dragons, Honor Amongst Thieves, Transformers, Rise of the Beasts, and then trailers that they think will be coming out is Indiana Jones, The Dial of Time, Creed 3, John Wick, Chapter 4, and then we also should be getting a couple of more movies like and Cocaine Bear.
Yeah. Like another spot or another promo.
Because Cocaine Bear should be coming out closer to the end of the year.
Yeah.
Closer to the end of the month.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming they're gonna really ramp up marketing on that.
Definitely.
But which one of these are you really interested in seeing? What do you like?
You know what? I'm gonna shock everyone right now. I'm interested to see more footage of Rise of the Beast, the Transformers movie.
Really?
Yeah, because because Michael Bay's not attached to it. He's not touching it at all. This is the same guy that did Bumblebee.
Bumblebee wasn't bad.
Bumblebee was good.
Bumblebee was fun.
And I'm really interested to see, and then you have Ron Perlman doing the voice of Optimus Primal.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping we get to see more, Predacons in this one.
You know what? That I would be okay with that.
Yeah.
I would be okay with that. I do want to see where exactly Optimus Primal and all that stuff goes.
Yeah.
Because when I was a kid, I was a huge fan of Beast Wars.
That was my first introduction to Transformers. Was Beast Wars.
It was my first one where I paid attention week to week. I knew about Transformers because I used to watch the old show, like the old 80s show, because it was on Cartoon Network.
Yeah.
But this was like the first one where I was watching it week to week on Saturday morning cartoons. So I'm interested to see how exactly that kind of goes together. I'm really interested in seeing more of that, especially with it being the Bumblebee.
Yeah,
directors. I'm interested to see where they take it because Bumblebee, I feel, was like a sleeper. I feel that Bumblebee, I personally thought it was going to be trash. I thought it was going to be a garbage movie.
Yeah.
And in this one, it did really well.
It was really good. And Haley, I think it was Haley Atwell?
Is it Haley Atwell?
Let me double check.
The one that was in Hawkeye, right?
Yeah, Kate Bishop that plays Kate Bishop.
Yes.
And she did a great job.
She does an amazing job. Unfortunately, she's not back. for some of these.
No, because that one took place in the 80s, I think.
Yeah, it takes place in no, I thought it takes place in the
Haley Steinfeld.
Yeah, Haley Steinfeld.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I think that one takes place in the 90s or the 80s.
Yeah.
But
Dylan
it's cool.
O'Brien did the voice of Bumblebee? Oh, before he lost his...
Before he lost his voice.
Okay, I was like, what? I was like, Dylan O'Brien, what?
Yeah, because he loses it. He has it in the very beginning of the movie, and then he loses it near the beginning.
Okay.
My big one, I'm gonna regret it, and I already know I'm gonna regret it.
What?
It's gonna be Fast 10.
Oh, you want to see?
I want to see
where it is.
I want to see where they're going with it.
Yeah.
I want to see how that kind of progresses. I know I've been talking a lot of trash about the Fast series.
Yeah, that's because when we saw Fast 9, we were really disappointed and let down with that.
At
least two of us were.
Yeah, I was really disappointed because it wasn't the movie that I wanted, and I didn't like the fact that they were just like, we're gonna make fun of it. We're gonna kind of break the fourth wall of like, oh yeah, Tyrese can't die, or like they're all, and then they went into space, but they didn't like really go. Like it was just it was a joke.
They just ran out of ideas and just went with like the meme, what the fans thought of the meme of the of itself.
You know what it turned into? It kind of turned into Sharknado. In a way.
Yeah.
And you hate to see a movie turn into Sharknado.
Yeah.
Except for Sharknado, like that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm really interested in seeing what Fast 10 has to offer, just because they're saying that this is going to be the leading to the end of the saga to the end of the saga.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm wondering where that's going, who's going to be in it, how that's going to kind of play off each other, whether or not we're going to have Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson come back.
Yeah.
Just because I know him, Vin Diesel, and a couple of the others, they weren't getting along.
There were actors that are confirmed in this film. We have Jason Momoa.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got...
He's going to be the bad guy, right?
Yeah, and then Brie Larson is in it as well, too.
Okay.
And let's see. Let's double check. But yeah, that's the thing. Jason Momoa is going to play the villain in this one. I'm not too sure if they're going to have Charlize Theron as the main focus villain, or...
I think that she's the overarching villain.
Yeah. See, okay, so you have Michelle Rodriguez coming back. You have Han coming back. You have... I don't know who that is. Oh, you know what? Is that the mom? Is that
Dom's mom?
Yeah, you know what? That would make sense. Yeah, I think we talked about that. Like that's
like the next step is to have Dom's mom come in.
Dom's mom come in. Yeah, okay. So Charlize Theron is coming back. So is Jacob.
Because they both get away, or no, he gets brought into the family, right? Or he leaves by the end of 9.
Ooh, Shaw comes back. Jason Statham.
Well, that's what Google is saying. We're not sure.
Well,
Luke Black is also in it.
Michael Rooker?
If Michael Rooker's in it, I'm in.
Okay.
I don't care. I want Michael Rooker. I want Bow Wow in it longer.
How do you have Kurt Russell? He died in the last... You know what? We didn't see a body.
There was no body?
There was no body. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that Eva Mendes might come back as well, too.
We'll see. I want to see.
There's a lot of
Gal
Gadot. What?
That would be. She's a robot. No, I really am interested. These movies are so bat crazy. I really enjoy them. I just want them to stay within the realm of their movies and everything else.
So the director they got in this one, because I remember, was it Justin Lin left?
Justin Lin left, yes.
And he is known for this director, Louis Leterrier. He's a French Leterrier. Yeah, he's a. Oh,
French. he did the Transporter.
He did Unleashed.
Series.
He did the Incredible Hulk, Clash of the Titans, Now You See Me,
Tower of Strength, and then the Brothers Grisby.
He also directed an episode of Dark Crystal
on Netflix.
Okay.
And then three episodes of Lupin. That's an interesting change of a director.
Yeah.
I mean, he's worked with Statham before, because honestly, Unleashed and Transporter, not so much the Banner Hulk, and Now You See Me, because Now You See Me is actually a fun movie. It's a fun movie.
Yeah, and he knows how to work with character actors.
Yeah, but the big thing is that if you go with Transporter, the Transporter 2, and Unleashed. You ever seen Unleashed?
I have. I like Unleashed.
With Jet Li.
I like
that.
That
movie
really
that movie is dope. I love that movie. That movie is so fun, and also the action scenes are just brutal.
Yeah,
like they're so brutal.
Oh, yeah,
they're so animalistic.
When Jet Li's character is in like that cage fight.
Yeah, when he's in the cage fight,
like
and as soon as and like once he gets taken off the leash and just like runs, it's so cool.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I have faith in it. I'm hoping that he does a really great job. I'm looking forward to seeing where these movies go in the future.
That's the thing, because you have, with Paul Walker gone, and they keep writing off Bryan as like, oh, he's watching the kids, or we promised
We
to
can't
keep
tell
him out
Bryan.
of his life. Yeah.
Or like a lot of it's like, we can't tell Bryan.
Yeah, and it's like, well,
Just like this one, you guys can't tell Bryan what we did.
I'm not fully confident that Dwayne Johnson is in this movie.
Apparently they squashed the feud.
They did?
That's what everybody said. Like everybody so far has said that they've squashed the feud.
I mean, I can see Vin Diesel really kind of like saying apologies to him, because with the not so successful or the critically raved last movie that they did, Fast 9, I think it felt like it was missing that too. It was missing The Rock.
It was missing a lot of things.
Yeah.
It's hard though, because you're missing Paul Walker, you're missing The Rock, you're missing Shaw.
Yeah.
You're missing a lot of characters that really kind of build up the series.
And I was really disappointed how they went with John Cena in it, where they just made him like, oh, he's like this another version of Dom.
John Cena is so. If anybody has seen Peacemaker, which you guys have if you've been listening to us, we loved Peacemaker.
We love Peacemaker, and John Cena's acting is great in that.
John Cena was poorly used because he was used like he was in The Marine.
Yeah, you know what? And
that's how John Cena was used, and John Cena is more than that now. And that's what's disappointing, because he has so much charisma.
That's the thing. He's not your full-blown action hero. He's not Schwarzenegger. He's not Stallone.
No.
He's an actual character actor.
You know what?
That happens to be a big
You know
dude.
who I would say? He is a more muscular Bruce Willis.
Yes. You know what? I totally know. Yeah.
He's a Bruce Willis, like could like bench press like 400 pounds.
And
Oh, man.
Because he's a lot funnier.
He's
funnier.
He's so quirky. It's great. I
Because
love him.
I would say that Sylvester Stallone would be closer to like Dwayne the Rock, not Dwayne the Rock Johnson, Vin Diesel.
Yeah.
Like in this little feud that Vin Diesel and The Rock.
The Rock would be basically Arnold.
Yeah, I can see The Rock as Arnold because he's funnier.
Yeah.
It seems like every movie he's in, he's very likable, because he was also in like Twins and stuff like that. And then Vin Diesel wants to do these like art pieces, kind of like how Stallone did. Yeah. And then I would so compare John Cena to John McClane, to Bruce Willis coming in. He's not the action hero that you would think he is, but he's likable and he's funny.
He's more Bruce Willis is more of like the everyday guy.
Yes, he's the everyday man, and I feel like John Cena is the everyday man if I happen to spend most of my days in the gym.
Yeah, drinking whey.
Yeah. And I do feel that that's what they missed out on. They missed out on a lot of John Cena-esque, performances that we've gotten so used to in Peacemaker and Suicide Squad and all these other things. And they just kind of made him one note, and that made him super boring.
He was really funny, and I don't care for the movie as a whole, but he was actually really funny in Trainwreck.
He's good.
Yeah,
he's really good.
Yeah, he was also funny in Sisters with Tina Fey and Amy Poehler.
Right.
He played the drug dealer and stuff like that. See, like, he's actually a really funny dude.
He knows how to tell a joke.
Yeah.
He really knows how to sell a joke. He knows how to tell a joke. I think that if they would have instead of making it that everybody liked Dom more, I think it would have been more interesting if you would have made it that everybody likes Jacob more. Yeah. That Jacob went off to go do some other stuff, or Jacob joined the Marines. Yeah. Or he did something else, and then he just been doing his own thing for all these years. Yeah. And Dom was always the mess up. That was, and like, he was always the one that was getting into trouble. He was always the one that was going in and out of jail.
Yeah, because Dom has a temper.
Yeah, because Dom has a temper.
Yeah.
And I think that would have been an interesting idea.
Yeah, he's more, like, Jacob's more calm, collected, more just kind of like precise.
Yeah. Stuff. And it's also really weird when you say, oh, yeah, Jacob's my little brother. Like, oh, yeah, John Cena's my little brother, and he towers over you. And it's like, that's weird.
Sometimes that's how it is, too. You
I get
always
it,
have,
though.
like, a big little brother.
I get that. Yeah, I do get that. But I mean, it is funnier to have it like that, and for him to play off of the fact that he is his big little brother. I just think that's funnier. Yeah. I don't think this whole him being mad because he's more liked Like, it was such a weird reason on why Jacob was mad at Dom, of like, he's always been the favorite. And I'm like, really? Like, he's been the favorite? Yeah. Okay, I guess.
Like, I could see him as more of like the authority in the family.
The authoritarian?
The authoritarian one. Like, everyone takes Dom more serious than Jacob over the two and stuff like that. But I don't know. We'll see.
But I can see Jacob as like he left. Like he went to go do his own things, and
we'll see. We'll see where Fast X takes us. I'm also happy that we're gonna get more Flash footage.
I'm happy that we're actually gonna get a Flash trailer.
Yes, that's other than the other one that we've gotten. You know,
I want a Flash trailer, and I really do want them to kind of show some stuff. I want them to show, you know, like Ben Affleck. I want them to show some of the other things. I mean, the Flash is such a toss up. It's such a toss up of an idea, and we'll get into more of that once we get into James Gunn and all, and talking about all that stuff. But I am interested to see. I mean, Guardians of the Galaxy. It's cool. John Wick 4. We already kind of know what's going on.
Yeah,
I'm interested in seeing a trailer for that. But yeah, the Elementals. I mean, it's a Pixar movie. I'm gonna go watch it. So, like,
I know. Yeah, I think I saw the trailer that came out like a while ago.
Yeah,
and it seemed interesting, but it's always, you know, I've noticed that Disney and Pixar will always do those safe stories where it's like, you know, same thing. And what's it called? Life? Or was it Life? The one with Soul. The one in Soul where it's like there's always a character that has to break out of the norm. Out of the kind social norm, essentially.
They have gotten into a pattern.
Yeah, so
there is a bit of a pattern, and I do see that and everything else. But, you know, go to just so that way we can move on from it. Let us know what you guys think. Yeah. What movies are you really anticipating to see? What are you excited about the Super Bowl? Are you excited about the Super Bowl? I mean, sports. You know, I don't think
there are some people. I mean, yeah, personally for me, there are some people that are like me that don't really care for the game, or just care for
sports at halftime.
The sports halftime or the food. You know?
Yeah, like a lot of times I'll hang out. I'll be with my friends, and then we'll watch the game, and we'll, you know, usually I don't care who's winning, but I'll pick like a team for the day, and I'm like, that's my team. And I'll just cheer them on that day.
Yeah. So they haven't announced who's playing who, right?
I thought it was Kansas City versus
is it the Eagles.
The Eagles.
Oh, is it? Okay.
I thought it was Kansas City versus the Eagles. I believe.
Apparently, you know, the Eagles won against the 49ers, and that was a thing. I saw that all over social media.
Yeah.
It's like,
it's a thing.
It's a thing.
So just so that way we can kind of get it out of the way. Yeah. This week to week we've been watching The Last of Us.
Yes.
Literally, we watch The Last of Us, then we do our skit, and then we get into the studio. Give us a little time to go over, you know, our thoughts about The Last of Us. This week was interesting. It was episode 4, and we had to get over, you know, the heartbreak of episode 3 last week.
Yeah.
And you know what? I liked this one. I liked this episode. I liked the idea of it. So they went to. I actually think they were in Kansas City on this one, right?
Yes,
they went to Kansas.
They went to Kansas.
So they're in So Joel and Ellie leave Bill in Frank's house. Just as a synopsis for anybody who hasn't seen the episode or anything else, just letting you guys know there will be some spoilers mentioned inside of the in this. You know, so if that's the case, go watch the episode, then come on back for our analysis. Yeah. But for this, they have what was it? So they leave Bill and Frank's. They're now driving down the highway. Now they're trying to get to their destination to go find to go find Tommy.
Tommy, yeah, because that's where they want to go, because Tommy was part of the Fireflies and might have some insight.
Yeah, because all the places that they've told Joel this is where to go, they don't know. Like everything's been destroyed, or anybody's been dead, or whatever. And it's kind of like, okay, cool. The only person I really know that might have any ideas about the Fireflies is my brother Tommy. So I'm gonna go check out and see if I can go find him, and let's go catch up with him in Wyoming. Yeah. So right now they're going from Boston to Wyoming.
Boston.
Yeah, and they've been on the road, and they're leaving. They left Frank and Bill's place fully stocked. They have food, they have ammo, they have,
camping gear.
And they're making their way. And it's kind of like a small road trip for the first 20 minutes of the episode.
Yeah, it was nice. It's kind of you see Ellie, being amazed by the car that she's in and stuff like that, and Joel just kind of reminiscing about his past. You could tell that he's thinking about his daughter.
You can. Point. Yeah. Not only that, but also you can really tell that Joel is starting to not like Ellie, but to accept Ellie for who she is.
I think we were talking about during the episode is that Joel's now has accepted the responsibility of protecting Ellie.
He's a lot less snappy.
Yes, he's no longer pushing her away. He's more the lines of I am the only person that can protect her and get to where we need to be.
Get her to where we need to be, and maybe we can maybe save everybody else.
Yes.
If this all works out.
If this is the case, if she is truly the key to stop this whole thing, then
I'm gonna take that on.
Yeah.
And Joel's explaining a couple of things Ellie was going, why do we have to stop every hour to get new gas?
Yeah.
And Joel, and it made a lot of sense. Joel was going, well, gas has deteriorated over the last 20 years, so it's more like water than it is combustible.
Yeah.
So we need to refill the tank every couple of hours. Yeah. Or else the car is just going to die.
Which is true. You never really think about that until it's pointed out where gas would basically not fizzle out, but it would just become nothing.
Well, because it does need to be processed, and it's expected that we make the gas, you put it in your car, it gets used. It's never really thought about the gas is going to be sitting in your car for 20 years.
Yeah.
And everything else, because that does happen. If you have a car that you put inside of a junkyard or in let's say your barn or something like that, it's sitting for 20 years, you have to flush out the gas tank just because the gas is old and it's been sitting there, it's settled and everything.
To get the gas out, he blew into the hose, right? And then it would just come out on its own.
Yeah. So it's interesting because he covered the hole so that way there wasn't any air that was going in. So he blew into the tank, and then the pressure shot it so that way it would then go down the only tube that was there. So we put 2 tubes in, which I thought was clever. I was like, that's kind of cool.
Because you're used to seeing in shows and movies that shows how much we know, guys. Is that we're so used to them kind of
sucking on it,
sucking it in, and just going and just get the gas because it comes out. But it's there's another way of doing it.
Yeah, and this one seems a little more clever.
Yeah. And even Ellie in the episode goes well, where'd you learn it from? And she goes, and he's like, well, I don't know how it works. I just know it works.
No, because she goes, how does that work? And he's trying to explain it, and he goes, the way that gravity comes through. And she goes, you have no idea how it works. And he goes, all I need to know is it works. Yeah. Okay, that's all I need to know.
Which is true. That's the thing.
Yeah, and you get a little more information about the time. So you're also getting more information about how Ellie's personality is working, because Ellie is kind of a goofball. Yeah. And it shows inside the game, but in the show itself, you're seeing that Ellie is she's a dork.
Yeah.
And you can tell that Joel is a dork because she's giving him all these really lame puns and jokes because she has a joke book. And she makes a couple of jokes, and the first one, Joel's just like, yeah, you can stay in the car. I don't need these. You can go back in the car. I don't need this stuff. And later on, she tells him another joke, and they both start laughing. It's pretty funny.
It was a good moment.
It's a cute moment.
Yeah.
But they finally make it to they end up making it to Kansas City, and they see that it's the road, that the highway that they're on is blocked off. Yeah. And it looks like somebody intentionally blocked it. So I'm not sure if it was Fedra that was intentionally blocking it, or if it was somebody else.
Yeah. So they go around and they enter through the city through another way.
Yes.
And from there we see that
Joel says it should take 5 minutes, then we'll be back on the road.
Then from there we see that they enter a QZ zone, or no, not enter, but they drive into the city and they see an abandoned QZ zone.
Yes.
And from there, that's when they get, I guess, scouts were watching over them, and they see that someone's lured them in a trap where someone comes out and asks for help and stuff.
It is interesting, though, because Ellie doesn't know it's a trap.
Yeah.
Somebody's just coming out and saying, help,
yeah.
I need help. And then Joel immediately goes, put on your seatbelt, because he knows we're going to have to get out of here fast.
Yeah.
Because he realized this is a trap. we're about to get ambushed.
Yeah.
Which is interesting too, because later on in the episode, Ellie even asks him, "How did you know that was an ambush?"
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, "I've been on both sides of that.
Yeah.
Of somebody asking me for help and it being an ambush,
And then also doing it.
and me conducting the ambush."
Mm-hmm.
And Joel's mentality of that is, as long as I survive and the people that I'm caring about survive,
Yeah.
does not matter about anything else.
If
I
they're
will-
innocent or if they're truly had other intentions. If the
Sucks
people he
to be
killed
them.
deserve to die or not, essentially.
Yeah, that sucks. Like that's too bad.
Yeah.
You were in the way.
Which is interesting because that's how the in-game Joel is. Joel doesn't really care. I mean, I shouldn't say he doesn't care, but he's really in that mentality of it's fight or flight.
Yes.
And you got to do what you got to do to survive. And that's something he gets across to Ellie throughout the whole thing, is that you do what you need to do to survive. It doesn't matter. You can't be how you are, how the world was before. Because
interesting
the world's not like that anymore.
It's interesting because they do that in the game. You know who else? You know what other game does that really well? Telltale's Walking Dead.
Oh, really? Yeah. Well, I mean, that's
with
the
Clement with Clementine in them,
Yeah.
where you're taking care of her,
Well,
and then
I
you're
mean-
really, and you're really imprinting on the small little girl of like the things that you need to do in
Yeah.
order to survive in an apocalyptic
Well, it's
situation.
kind of true because that's the one main thing about in any sort of post-apocalyptic story is that is it necessary to maintain your humanity, or is it or should you just do what you need to do no matter what it costs, no matter what it does to your character, just to stay alive?
Yeah, and it was interesting too because even when they were driving to Kansas City before they get there and before they get ambushed, Joel pulls off to take take a nap because he's been driving for 24 hours, and she even says, "Can we build a fire?"
Yeah,
and Joel goes, "No, you know why we can't build a fire?" And she goes, "Oh yeah, because the clickers are gonna
the fungus.
the fungus people are gonna find us." And he goes, "No, the fungus people aren't that smart." And then she goes, "Oh, it's normal people.
Yeah.
Normal people we have to worry about." And
Yeah.
he doesn't really say anything, but you can tell, he's more worried about normal, marauders.
Yeah, he's more afraid of just people than just infected people.
Because he doesn't know who's been on these roads.
Yeah.
And I was talking to you about it because I go, well, that would make a lot of sense. Because if there are people who are going up and down the roads or they're patrolling in the area, and this is their patrol area, they would notice that things got moved, or they would notice a new car that's been put on the road. Because I would, especially if I've been patrolling and then I see a brand new car that has stuff in it and people are asleep inside of it, I would notice, and I might pull them over. If this is an apocalyptic thing, who knows what people do?
Yeah.
And Joel, and you can kind of see that Joel is pretty afraid of it.
Yes, definitely.
And Joel is right. Joel is right. He goes, nobody's going to find us. We'll be fine. Just go to sleep. And they go to sleep. They wake up. Joel's making coffee, and they make their way into Kansas City.
Coffee. We were talking about that. We're like, how much is coffee important?
We were talking about how
yes.
much coffee would be important, and then
how
also
much-
Ellie finds a porno mag of bills.
Yeah.
And then she throws it out the window, and I was like, "That's like gold, man! Like, oh my god, like a
Can you
porno mag in
imagine-
the apocalypse."
Can you imagine going to like a trade post and just be like, boom, I want the whole like.
What do you give me for it?
Yeah,
And just
what
like
do you
throw
give
it on the thing,
and
then,
just like 6 grenades, a rocket
yeah,
launcher.
man. Because I was telling Rene, I go, that's probably like gold right
Yeah.
now. Like you can't find porno mags.
Yeah. So note to
know?
self: in a post-apocalyptic world, get some porno mags.
Yeah, save some Playboys.
Yeah, or get a portable DVD player and get some movies going.
A portable DVD player.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just thought I thought that was really funny because even Ellie's like opening up the pages and she's like, "Oh my god, how do you walk with that thing?"
So they say the lines that are in the game, which I love. I love the whole. She finds music, a cassette tape. She goes, "Here, this is probably when you were younger." He goes, "That's actually before my time, but it's a good one though."
He puts it in.
Yeah. And she goes, "Whoa, are you walking around that? How do you walk around that thing?" And Joel's like, "Oh, Ellie, I don't think you should be with us." She goes, "Nah, no problem. It's fine. I just want to see what all the fuss is about." And stuff.
Why are all these pages stuck together?
Boom. He's just like, I'm just effing with you.
Yeah, and I thought, and you have a lot of really interesting moments that are, you have a lot of bonding moments that are going on with Joel and Ellie
Yes.
during this time.
One in particular is when they get ambushed.
Yes,
Yeah.
and so they finally get ambushed. They crash into a laundromat,
Yeah.
and then once they crash into the laundromat, Ellie really does go into survival mode.
Yeah.
She immediately looks at Joel, and then Joel kind of has this thing of going, "We're going to survive this.
Mm-hmm.
I just need you to listen to me and keep moving."
Yeah.
And she does. She ends up hiding inside of a wall. Joel's able to take care of the guys that are outside.
Yeah.
He then gets attacked
Mm-hmm.
by some guy from the back,
Yeah.
and Ellie takes the gun out that she found from the last episode inside of Bill and Frank's house,
Yeah.
and she shoots the guy in the back while he's trying to kill Joel, and she paralyzes him.
Yeah. So I think what she was doing that she thought she was going for a wound shot.
Like, I'm gonna wound him.
Yeah.
She shot him in the back
Shot him in the back, but shot him maybe too close to his spine,
and probably fractured his spine.
which is an interesting detail, which I kind of like, is that she's not a great shooter. She doesn't know, oh, this shot will just wound him, this shot will just make him, stop, and this shot will kill him. She did like an in-between kind of thing. I didn't kill him, but I essentially made him paralyzed.
I made him paralyzed.
Yeah.
I paralyzed him because he's even saying, I can't move my legs.
Can't move my legs, and he's afraid, he's getting scared.
He's
and
asking for his mom.
asking for his mom, which is,
and
again,
he's like-
he's young. He's like maybe like in his early 20s,
Yeah,
maybe
he's
even
telling-
a teenager.
And he's telling them, like, don't worry,
We're cool.
We're not fighting anymore. We're not
Yeah.
fighting anymore. We're cool. I'll tell them that everything is fine if you just take me
To see my mom.
to go see my mom. She's down the way.
Mhm.
Just take me. Just take me
Yeah.
there. And they don't.
They
like
don't.
Joel's like, yeah, I can't.
He makes the decision to finish him off.
Yeah. So he ends up stabbing the guy
Mm-hmm.
and killing him, which honestly is kind of a mercy inside of the apocalypse. There's not really room for, if you're paralyzed,
paralyzed, yeah,
if you're a
you're not
paraplegic
good.
in the apocalypse, you're just dead weight at that point,
Yeah.
honestly. But for him, he ends up killing him. Him and Ellie he has this opportunity to console Ellie, but he doesn't.
Yeah.
And they kind of just move on. You see Ellie wipe away the tears, and then she opens up the door. There was a lot of combination of them helping each other. Because in the first game, they did that a lot, where Joel would slip her into tight spaces,
Mm-hmm.
and then she would open doors for Joel.
Mm-hmm.
And that was always a really interesting part of the game, because it was like, oh, she's really useful.
Yeah.
And in this episode, she's doing that for Joel. She's
Yeah.
slipping into like vents, or she's doing other things,
Mhm.
opening up doors, getting them into places that normal people couldn't possibly get into.
Yeah.
And that's really cool. Then you find out that Kansas City has been taken over.
Taken
by-
over by, I guess, a group of people.
hunters.
Hunters that decided to rise against Fedra during this the quarantine zone that they were in, and decided to uprise against them, which is pretty interesting. We get to see this different type of faction.
Yeah, and they took over the entire town, and by this point, they are in complete control, and they're now kind of on a manhunt. They're being led by a woman named Kathleen, who's a brand new character to the actual the show.
She's a show character.
Yeah, she's a brand new show character.
But
show character.
the characters that she's trying to find in the city are actually in-game characters.
Yeah, and they're in Pittsburgh in
Yeah.
the game. They're in Kansas City in the show.
So we saw the after episode of this one. Inside the episode, they decided to make a decision to make the next stop Kansas, because I guess it makes sense.
on the way there.
On the way there, that would be the first city that they would run into, which is fine, Again, I have complete faith in the writers and the showrunners of how they're moving about this main arc.
And
of
you
the
know what?
story.
I'm okay with them moving stuff around.
Yeah.
Like, I'm okay with them. We're not going to go to Pittsburgh. Instead,
Yeah.
we're going to go to Kansas City.
Yeah.
Or instead, we're going to switch this over here.
Yeah.
We're going to put
We're gonna
this.
have a backstory for. Bill
I feel
and
like
Frank.
that doesn't hurt the show
No.
at all.
No, it's a great. I believe again, it's a great executive decision. Again, so the whole time though, Kathleen is trying to find both Henry and Sam, which is interesting because they never had that type of
Animosity.
in the game. We just run into them and they
'Cause
just tag along.
Henry and Sam were also passing through, if I
Yeah.
remember correctly, and then they got stuck in the city,
Yeah.
and they can't escape.
Yeah, so that's why they go underground, and then they escape out of the city from there.
Yeah,
So
and-
they go through the sewer system.
Yeah, and they figured out, okay, if we go through the sewers, they can't find us, and then we'll make it on the other side.
Yeah.
in this one, I thought this episode was really cool. It also brought in the whole bloater.
Yeah, a hint at the bloater.
They started hinting at the bloater because you see that there's something underground. There's something in the subway system. Not in the subway system, but at least in either the subway or inside of the sewer systems.
Yeah, it's growing.
It's growing and it's cracking the actual concrete. It's you'd see the concrete sinking in.
It's like encaving, yeah.
Yeah, and it's cracking and it's moving. It looked like it looked like a river on how the concrete was moving.
Yeah, it was weird. It was very
and
weird.
So, I mean, it really does. It looks like the fungus is growing underneath and it's becoming stronger and stronger, and more things are going to be, and something's going to bust out of it. And I think that's where that fire comes in of the building collapsing, because the foundation falls, it collapses, it opens up the sewer pipes, and then all of them start coming out, and that's how that town just gets destroyed. That's how Kansas City gets taken over. But we're going to be getting more of that stuff in episode 5.
Episode 5, which is, I guess, this was the same writer that wrote episode 4 also wrote episode 5. So it's not a two-parter, but it's
same writer and director.
Yeah, same writer and director are tackling this next 2 episodes, or this next episode.
Yeah,
this episode and the next one. So I'm really interested to see, because what we saw from the scenes from the next episode is that they kind of dabble into why Henry and Sam are being pursued by Kathleen.
Yes, it looks like it's going to give a little bit of backstory,
which I'm interested to see.
And then we're going to get into present day, which it was interesting because we got introduced to Henry and Sam in kind of an odd way, but not necessarily It was
a way I kind of knew they were going to go about.
Yeah, because you did say in the very beginning, most likely Henry and Sam are going to be introduced at the very end because they keep talking about them.
Yeah.
But Henry and Sam end up sneaking up on Joel and Ellie. And because Joel is spreading glass all over the place. And he's like, oh yeah, like, I'm going to hear it. Like, if anybody tries to sneak in on us, I'll hear it. And, Ellie's making fun of him, kind of going like, oh yeah, well, you should sleep on your left-hand side because, you really can't hear good on your right.
Yeah.
Like, you have bad hearing on your right. And Ellie tells him a joke about diarrhea, which is great. It's a great joke. Yeah. And Joel finds it funny. They end up falling asleep. And Joel wakes up with a gun in his face from a little kid. Yeah. And, and then the episode ends. So I'm interested to seeing how that works out, how they're going to kind of go like, okay, cool. How they're going to prove to them that they're
We're not going to spoil the whole Henry and Sam arc.
Yes.
Because if you played the game, you know what I mean. If you haven't, we'll just save it for when that happens.
Because I'm sure they're going to tackle it in the next
2 episodes.
Yeah,
because we know that they are a main point in the arc of Joel and Ellie's story. But as of like how the showrunners are going to do it, it'll be interesting if they do wrap that up in 1 episode, and I hope they don't rush it.
I don't think they will. I think that they're probably going to finish off Kansas City.
Because this was episode 4?
This is episode 4. I believe we have 10 episodes.
We have 10. Let me do a quick little... Let's see.
But, we have a lot of episodes coming up. And if the bloater is coming up in in episode 5, that's pretty early.
Yeah. So, let's see.
What's up?
So, okay, Wikipedia usually is good.
And giving you like an episode list?
Yeah, giving me about an episode list. Episodes, here we go.
Yeah, episodes. Scroll all the way down.
So 9 episodes. So
Endure
the next one is called Endure and Survive.
Kin would probably be when they meet Tommy up.
Ooh, Left Behind is going to be directed by Neil Druckmann. Druckmann, which is the creator of the show. So usually when the creator of the show, or written, or is if it's written, then it's written. Okay, usually when that happens, it's usually a good episode.
When we are in need, and then to be announced on the last one.
Yeah, I think that's because it might be a spoiler. That's
probably. So I'm interested too because I'm pretty sure that in episode 6 we're gonna meet Tommy, which was interesting because one of the main characters, Kathleen's her main baddie,
like second in command.
Her second in command is the voice actor for Tommy,
which is cool because once they pointed that out and we heard him talk, we're like, that is Tommy.
Yeah, that's Tommy.
Yeah,
that's
Tommy.
Awesome.
And you said you liked his aesthetic look
I just liked his fit.
Yeah.
Like I loved his aesthetic of just him having this like gray long hair, like him graying this blonde beard. but being super fit and
Yeah.
like having like all this
He
military.
was like post-apocalyptic zaddy.
Yeah, dude, he looked good. He looked good, and then he had like the machine gun. And he was just like
Yeah.
going down like that. I was like, oh man, I love his whole aesthetic. His whole aesthetic is dope. I love him. But and you know what? And that's another thing I really like about the show. Of we're just gonna get the voice actors and we're gonna just plop them into places.
Yeah. I know the voice actress that plays Ellie in the game is gonna play Ellie's mom
In
the
an
show.
episode, so I'm assuming. I think that's probably either going to be in the season finale or sometime around then.
Yeah, it might be obviously it's gonna be a flashback.
Yeah.
So
it's probably when because they said that Ellie was born and then she was given immediately away to the Fedra.
yeah, Fedra.
So I'm assuming the mom. That would be interesting if their explanation is the mom got bitten while she was giving birth, or she was about to give birth.
That's why she's immune to it.
And that's why she's immune to it. It'd
be interesting if they go about that route. Or, I don't know, the showrunners like to make things up. Like they said, if we can find a way to tell the story better in this changes, we're going to do it.
Yeah.
If not, we're going to stick to how the game is.
So
they could do it where maybe Ellie's mom is alive.
Maybe.
And we don't know. It's going to be a twist.
Maybe she's in charge of the Fireflies in a different area or something.
That'd be interesting.
That'd be interesting. We'll see what's going on.
Yeah.
But just so that way we can kind of move on. Let us know how you guys felt about The Last of Us.
Mm-hmm.
See how exactly you what do you guys think of this new episode? How do you like the way that they're changing things up?
Yeah.
I personally really like it. I like the things that they're doing and everything else. Finally, just so that we can, to close out the show, I wanted to talk about DC Studios.
I think we both wanted to talk.
I really wanted to talk about DC Studios.
Well, with the announcement on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Tuesday, it was a lot.
It was so funny though, because we all kept joking that James Gunn was going to wait until the last minute.
Well, yeah, that's the thing.
Because he said at the end of January, I'm going to release an announcement of the beginning slate.
Yeah.
And then everybody's like, watch, he's gonna do it right on the 31st.
Yeah.
And he's gonna release it right then, and then it's gonna be like the last minute, and it's gonna be a whole thing. And I didn't think it was, but
you know what? I don't blame him, because at the same time, you have his first chapter.
Yeah.
And it's not a lot, but it is pretty interesting the direction they're going about it. We'll talk about what.
Can you scroll up? Because what did he call it? He called it the
Gods and Monsters.
Yeah, he called it Gods and Monsters chapter.
But he did clarify on some stuff. So it was like a YouTube. It was a video that he made, and it was basically, he said, I know you guys have been waiting for this, so this is the slate for
half the slate.
Oh yeah, that's right. It's not even the full slate for this chapter.
This is going to be 2023 to 2024.
Okay, and he said this is going to be part of a 8 to 10 year span, with it cut up to chapters. With this first chapter being Gods and Monsters, which I like. I like that he's taking the aspect of Marvel, but not calling it a phase. Each chapter. Each chapter has a theme.
But I like the idea of it's like a book.
Yeah.
Of we're gonna have these things that happen throughout this chapter, and then we're gonna get to chapter 2.
Yeah.
And then that's gonna pull in what's going on from chapter 1 while expanding. And then chapter 3 is gonna happen, and then you're gonna have like these full on things.
So again, I think. We're not saying that this is like the indefinite way. This is just me and Nick's opinion, because I think we're a little bit biased because we're both DC boys.
We are? Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's why me and him are more, I guess, on the positive side of this. There are actually some people that I've talked to, a few of my customers, that are not thrilled. I shouldn't say that, but they don't have the full faith in James Gunn like you and I do.
Here's my thing.
Yeah.
I get it. We, as DC fanboys, DC lovers, especially of the movies and of the screen, we're like abused children.
Yeah.
We're like, it's kind of like mom keeps on getting a new boyfriend and they haven't really been good.
Yeah, sometimes the boyfriend will just drink and just spout out weird nonsense, and then we just accept it.
Yeah, we just kind of accept it. And we go, well, that's the best we got right now.
And once in a while, we'll get those ones that are like, oh yeah, you know what? That was a cool dude.
That was a cool dude,
yeah.
and he's only there for like a week.
Well, I just hope he sticks around. Which
Yeah.
Is, you know, like, but
or what was it? We get those crazy ones that are on meth.
yeah,
And it's
and they're like always, you know what? You don't have to call me your dad. You just call me your uncle.
Yeah.
You know.
Or what was it? Yeah. And those are the ones that are like, oh, I got all these ideas, and then Superman's like, Jesus, and then like he's.
Yeah.
And Batman's just murdering everybody, and Darkseid's gonna take over the Earth. And
hold on.
Yeah. Woo! And which a Martian Manhunter is Martha.
Yeah.
And
you should really accept this because your mom really liked this idea.
yeah, your mom really liked this idea last night.
So with that being said, we got this chapter called Gods and Monsters. So James Gunn also said that films like Joker and
Elseworlds
and Batman 2, along with Teen Titans Go, are in a separate pocket universe of its own thing called Elseworlds, like he said. And that, though, he did clarify, though, that movies like Shazam, Blue Beetle, and Aquaman that come out before are essentially connected, but later on will be brought in later. That's a thing, because these are characters that they are not considering.
We're not necessarily putting them. We're not going to. There's a reason to go watch them, so do not watch them.
Yes.
Because I had a feeling that's what a lot of people were going to do.
That was
Aquaman and for a lot of these was a lot of people were going, well, what was the point of me watching them?
Yeah.
Like, they're not connected to anything.
Yeah.
And they're going to get wiped.
Yeah, if they're just going to be not part of the new DCU.
Yeah, and I think that was also the benefit of inside of Aquaman, and also because Jason Momoa has also been saying too, he's like, oh, I'm here to stay. Like, I am going to be playing Aquaman, and no one's gonna tell me I'm not.
Yeah.
I feel like that's kind of the attitude he had when he talked to when he talked to James Gunn and them. But I think that's kind of interesting though, because technically you can still do that because he was in Peacemaker.
Yeah.
Because Peacemaker's gonna be around.
Yes. Oh yeah, his Suicide Squad and his Peacemaker show are still gonna be connected to the DCU.
Because the only ones that we didn't see were Batman, Wonder Woman,
and Superman.
And which
or Justice League,
Superman, and what's that? Cyborg. Those are the only four that we really didn't see. They were the Flash and also Aquaman. Were the two that we saw.
Which he said that the Flash movie is a really good superhero movie.
He said it's one of the best movies he's ever seen.
And that will be resetting. That will be the kernel to reset the DC universe.
He said that's going to be the first step.
Yeah.
In resetting the DC universe.
And then after that, we are going to get a list. We're going to get movies and animation and games that are all connected to the new DCU,
which I thought was interesting because he also said that if they played them in the movie, they're playing them in the animated in their animated shows, and they're also going to be playing them in their video games.
Yeah, which is an interesting step that I think that putting them into the video games is going to be not difficult, but that's a interesting note that he wanted to push, and I wonder why he wanted to do that.
I wonder what games are going to be coming out.
That's the thing.
Because it's not going to be Suicide Squad.
Because that's something that Marvel is not doing, is connecting
video games
to the MCU.
That's and animation as well.
And animation.
Because, I mean, they kind of are including What If.
Yeah.
But they're dabbling. They're just kind of pulling what they want, and they're not really saying the whole thing is canon. Because they have the Agent Carter thing. But, we'll see what's going on. It's an interesting idea. I'm wondering what that means for coming up for their video games.
Yeah.
And everything. Let's get into the actual film slate.
So with the film projects, the first one that was the one that's going to be coming out in July 2025 will be Superman Legacy. And that is written by Gunn himself. And it focuses on Superman balancing his Kryptonian heritage with his human upbringing, which again a lot of people don't really care in my talking about it, because again they're like, well, we just got Man of Steel, why not just use Henry Cavill because we got that all in Man of Steel. We did, but I feel like he wants to focus more on a younger Superman. He wants to build up from Clark being obviously from Kansas and then becoming Superman.
The tricky thing is also Henry Cavill's in his 40s. When they first hired Henry Cavill, he was in like his early 30s.
Yeah.
Henry Cavill has had the Superman title for the last 10 to 15 years.
And some people will say like, oh, why don't you just hire a younger actor then? Well, that's not the case. It's just I think James Gunn has a vision of what he wants to do with Superman. He wants the younger version to grow up.
Yeah,
with the audience.
Yeah, and he's not wrong about that. It's a great idea. It's exactly what we got from like Smallville or any of these other Superman properties. Is we got to see Superman grow up and really combat what's going on in the world.
And again, I have complete faith in James Gunn. He's a great writer. He shows that in both the Suicide Squad and Peacemaker. He knows how to grab you and love characters so much,
and also get characters that no one likes.
Yeah,
and make you like them.
That's the thing. He's really good at that, and I'm really interested to see what he wants to do with Superman, because again, I'm completely excited for Superman Legacy. I really want to love this Superman. I didn't really, because I'm not a huge Superman fan. I don't know if you're a huge Superman fan in general. I like Superman like I like John Cena. John Cena, they're cool at first, and then eventually they get boring because everybody is just waiting for them to show up in order to solve the day, to save the day. And I was telling you the other day, I think like in an episode or two, of my idea for a great Superman movie would be a Clark Kent movie where he's trying to do like All the President's Men, where he's trying to figure out like a conspiracy, and it's all about Clark Kent doing this investigative journalism. Yeah. And he figures I can actually do more as Clark Kent than I can as Superman. Yeah. Or or like a Spotlight kind of movie with Superman in it. Yeah. Like that would be kind of cool. Yeah, definitely. That's the thing. And I think for me, I didn't really care for Superman until I saw Man of Steel. Mm-hmm. Man of Steel, Zack Snyder really did a good job of making me, care for Superman. For me personally, I don't like overpowered characters. I feel like they're super hard to write, or godlike characters in general.
I feel like the only thing that Zack Snyder did that I didn't really like is he really put his thumb on that whole he's a Jesus parody. Yeah. And that really took away from the whole thing of like he needs to suffer, or he needs to do anything like the whole idea of Pa Kent just sacrificing himself into a tornado. Yeah. And it's like, oh yeah, you can't expose yourself, so don't do it. Like in all fairness, in every other medium, everybody always says Superman is so fast he looks like a blur. Yeah. Like you wouldn't be able to tell that it was Superman. So in reality, like you could have had a blur shoot past and then Clark run the other way because he can't take it, and then blur in and then take his dad out and get like that was weird. Like those are just weird choices that Zack Snyder made because they were like, oh yeah, he needs to learn how to die and stuff.
Yeah, he made his Superman very depressing. And it was interesting, but at the same time, it kept going throughout like both Justice League.
I want to see Superman enjoy being Superman.
Yeah, I want him to be happy and plucky. That's the thing.
I want him to be overly plucky, so that way when he meets a Batman,
yes,
Batman is so annoyed by him.
Yeah, he's so annoyed that's some of
how
positive he is.
Because that's so great of like the contrast between the two in the comics of when Superman is super happy and he's all about like bright and like this is the right thing to do and everything else and like everything is black and white to him, and then he then becomes best friends with a character who just sees everything in gray. Yeah, and it's like, dude, I don't know how everything is in Metropolis, but in Gotham. No, that does not work. Yeah. Like you can't do that in Gotham. And I feel like that's where those contrasts really, when everybody just sees the world in gray, then it just becomes boring. Yeah. And everything else. So let's move on to
a team that no one really knows, or some people knew if you're a hardcore DC fan, is called The Authority. Now this is another one that James Gunn is standing by that he is super excited for, and this is another movie he's writing. It basically features the characters of Wildstorm, which we'll talk about in a bit. Characters will join the DCU as members of the Authority to take matters into their own hands, to do what they believe is right. Now, I don't know if this is like another type of Suicide Squad, but basically, what is it? The Authority was created. This is the comic books. In 1999, it was created as a team of superheroes who got the job done by any means necessary. So it is essentially like I'm going off of that. They are like the Suicide Squad, but instead they are more of like a group of superheroes that will do whatever they can. There's no Justice League motto. It's like we don't kill, we don't harm other people.
But you know what? I actually like that idea of the world has had superheroes before. There's been teams before the Justice League. Yeah. Because then we have the Doom Patrol over here. We have the Authority over here. Yeah. We have all these other, teams that are kind of spread out all over the place, which would make things interesting when they finally make a Justice League.
Yeah.
And then Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and everybody else everybody else now reports into us.
Yeah.
Like, all of you guys are now honorary Justice League members. And you have the Justice League resources. You have the Bat credit card. You have everything that you possibly could need to facilitate your superheroing. Mm-hmm. What do you guys need? And everything is going to be coming through the Watchtower. And I think that would be really interesting for an overall thing. Like an overall kind of spanning, storyline.
So I will say that the well-known characters of the Authority, you have both Apollo, which is essentially the sun god, and then you have Midnighter, which is another character that's beloved in the DC universe. He is hold on, let me see. He was in the series called Stormwatch, and let me see. I know that he is a gay character. And he has the ability to he endures pain temporarily, enhance physical attributes. He can accelerate his heart rate, master of combat. He's stealth. He's also a good weapon expert as well too.
See, that's the thing though, is that I feel like this team's gonna be pretty cool.
Yeah, this is an interesting team. That's the thing. Midnighter has taken on to people like Batman, Nightwing. Most of the Bat family and stuff
have
like
all
that.
met the night, which I've all met him or all dealt with him.
And another characters like
the Doctor.
You also have the Engineer.
Also known as the Shaman. And then you have the Maker.
You have Grifter, which is originally was a Jim Lee character created for Image, but is now part of the DC universe. He is like an assassin, a mercenary. He's like a low budget Deadpool and Deathstroke, but he is still a pretty interesting character. So that's essentially the Authority. They are basically a group of superheroes that just don't have any rules at all, which is interesting. That's the thing.
And I go, if you can go back to the DC announcement tab. I do think that was just going to be a very interesting kind of story because you don't have a Superman yet. You don't have anything else. You don't have a Batman. You don't really have this Justice League rule of we don't kill.
Yeah.
And I always did like that. I like the idea of they don't kill. They try their best to be better than everybody else. And I know it's from the comic books and for the comic book code and everything else where they were like, okay, well, we don't show them killing. They're always trying to they hurt or they wound, but they always take them to jail at the end. And I always do like the idea of, Batman and Superman being smart enough or being having enough ingenuity to go, I don't need to kill.
Yeah.
If I kill, then I'm no better than the bad guys. So we need to be better than them.
Yeah.
And that's always Superman's kind of like code. And I really do want to see that inside of this new generation, this new kind of forum.
Which I think we're going to get. Which I'm really interested to see, especially with this new next announcement of this movie called The Brave and the Bold, which is essentially a new Batman movie that we'll be getting.
Yes, that would be the DCU Batman.
DCU Batman. Now, this is not to be confused with Robert Pattinson's Batman. Again, that is another Elseworld storyline that doesn't focus on the main continuity of what James Gunn's planning, which I'm happy about that he's letting that still happen. He's letting Matt Reeves' Batman become a thing.
Yeah, apparently they had a huge meeting and they were like, where do I fit in your world?
Yeah.
And then James Gunn was like,
you don't.
You don't. Like this, I'll just be honest, you don't fit in anything I'm doing.
Well, it's smart because he essentially can't use Matt Reeves' Batman, but he knows that it is a huge money making thing.
Not only
Everyone loved the Batman movie.
Not only that, but also, could you imagine people really liking This Brave and the Bold, everybody liking Pattinson, and then one day doing Crisis as a main thing, and then them meeting, like those two Batmen meeting.
Well, that's the thing. I think we'll get like a little sliver of that in the new Flash movie. We'll get Keaton Batman meeting up with Affleck Batman.
I don't think they're actually going to physically meet. I think that you're going to have the Flash interacting with both of them. I don't think they're going to physically meet. I think
it'd be cool.
That would be really cool.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I think that would be awesome. Because also that really misses the mark too. Because don't get me wrong, I want to see Keaton Batman. I think that would be. I think that's going to be awesome. But in Flashpoint, the reason why it was cool was because it was Bruce's dad.
Yeah,
it was Thomas Wayne.
Yeah,
and then you have that great scene where Thomas writes Bruce a letter saying he's proud of him. And then when he goes back to his universe and things have changed, and he goes back to Batman, he gives him the letter. And then Batman cries over the letter, and and it's the first time Flash has actually seen Bruce become emotional, and he, it's like, oh wow, you're one hell of a messenger, and and that's a really cool moment. I don't think that you're gonna have that great of a moment inside of this. Who knows? Maybe you will.
We'll see. So with this one, The Brave and the Bold will be the first introduction to our new Batman and
his new
Robin, which is not the Robin you think. It's not Dick Grayson. It is not Jason Todd. It is not Tim Drake. It is not even Stephanie Brown. It is Damian Wayne. Our first on-screen DCU Robin is Damian Wayne. How did you feel when they announced it, Damian Wayne?
I was excited.
Really?
I was excited that
you didn't have Wayne. Oh. I had my first knee-jerk reaction where I was kind of like, oh,
Here was the reason why I was okay with Damian Wayne. If we have Damian Wayne, that means the Bat family is already there.
It's already established.
It's already established. Batman's probably been Batmaning for like maybe 10 to 15 years, give or take. So he's probably like in his 30s.
Yeah.
He's already taken in a Batman. He's already taken in two, maybe 3 Robins.
Yeah.
I would be okay if all the Robins are doing their own thing, and you're introduced to where this movie is Batman and the Bat family, where it's just
so James Gunn did say that he wants to introduce the first on-screen Bat family,
and I think
that's what he's focusing on.
And I think
Batman
that would be a lot of
Robin.
fun because honestly, I feel that everybody knows that Batman has a Robin.
Yeah,
I don't think that everybody knows that Batman has so many Robins.
Yeah.
Where, he has Robins, he has Batgirls, he has Batwomen, that, he has Batwings, he has whatever. That there's such a large Bat family that they really are like a family where like some of them get along, some of them don't, others hate each other.
So
you have these like weird characters.
So it's interesting that they're going about that route of a more established Bat family. We're gonna get a Batman that's been doing Batman for a while. But it's not an older Batman. I mean, he essentially wants to do younger characters for all of his DC characters. So we are getting a younger Superman. Does that mean we're going to get a younger Batman, or a little bit?
Here's what I think. Yeah. I think that Superman Legacy, the way that you're going to do it is have us in present day Superman, reflecting on what he's learned.
Oh, I see what you mean.
And then it has like a lot of flashbacks and a lot of things that are kind of like, oh yeah, this is like this reminds me of this. This reminds me of that. Yeah. And the current mission that he's on is reminding him of his beginnings, or it's calling back to his beginnings as becoming Superman.
Yeah.
And then that way you can kind of have your cake and eat it too. Of this is a Superman that's been around for a little while.
I'm listening.
And he has this, and he has this legacy character that's coming up, and you can have him kind of reflect on that.
Sorry, I'm looking for a comic book. That's why.
Which one are you looking for?
Oh no, for the next one that's going to be coming out. That's why. This one's actually based off an actual comic.
The Woman of Tomorrow.
The Woman of Tomorrow.
But before that, I do think that that's going to be, and I think that would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Because that way you can have your cake and eat it too, of having a Superman that's been around for a little while.
Yeah.
And then he's reminiscing about his beginnings and what his legacy is. Now that he's actually becoming the Man of Steel. And I think that would be interesting. What about if they were giving Superman the key to the city and he's reflecting on
Oh, how he got there.
How did I get here?
Yeah. No, that's actually really cool. I kind of hope that's the direction they go.
You know?
For me, when I heard about Damian Wayne as Robin, I wasn't thrilled. But the thing is because initially I don't like Damian as a character.
Damian. I do like Damian.
I'm not. I really hate the whole notion of people liking DC characters, certain DC characters, because they are darker. They kill people. They're more
Damian
aggressive.
doesn't really kill though. He's aggressive.
He's aggressive, but he's an assassin, and that's why everyone likes him. That's the thing. That's why some people like Jason Todd as well too. You know, he's not. I like the characters that are very Boy Scoutish. That's why my favorite Robin is Dick Grayson. I love Dick Grayson. I love his moral compass. I love his code and stuff like that. I think because I can relate with that more.
See, but I really do, because what about, and that's a crazy idea too, if you have a Batman who isn't necessarily retiring, but if you went more towards Batman Incorporated. Instead of it being Batman, we have Dick Grayson as Batman.
Oh, that'd be cool. I would really like that if that's the case, because one of the greatest things about Damian Wayne is that his first introduction to being Robin was when Dick Grayson was Batman.
Well, because Batman dies, and then you have the battle for the cowl,
which is great.
It's a great story. Then you have Dick finally taking up the mantle, you know, begrudgingly.
Yeah, and then taking on his first Robin, which is Damian Wayne.
Which is Damian, because that was Bruce's. Bruce had just taken him in.
Yeah, and he wasn't Robin right away. That's the thing. Tim Drake was still Robin at the time. But you had Damian kind of like in this persona of like, well, I'm the next in line to become Batman, because it is, I am a Wayne.
I am the son.
Yeah, I am the son of Batman.
I'm blood.
Yeah.
Batman should be inherited.
Yeah.
By family.
Yeah. And then he's been trained his whole life to fight and to kill, but you could tell that that's not. It's an interesting constant back and forth between both.
Well, I always loved Robin. The idea of Damian Wayne kind of going like, I was trained by Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah.
I was trained by the head of the demon.
He's my grandfather.
He's my grandfather, and my father is Batman.
Yeah, my mother
is Bruce
Talia
Wayne.
al Ghul.
And like him having all these other things, and him going like, I have this lineage. Also, I was trained by the head of the demon. I deserve to be Batman. And then Dick Grayson always beating Damian.
Yeah.
And going like, my parents were trapeze artists. My dad is Batman. Well, and he whooped your grandfather every time they fought.
It was really cool because there's a story arc where Damian Wayne, I think it was in the beginning of the New 52, where Damian Wayne goes after each past Robin, and he's just going up the ladder. He goes after Tim Drake. He beats him up and takes something of his and stuff.
Yeah.
He goes after Jason Todd and beats him up as well too.
He takes one of his guns.
Takes one of his guns, and he gets to Dick Grayson, and he's ready to fight. He's charging at him, and Dick is like, he throws one of his batons, and he goes, "What is this?" He goes, "That's what you wanted, right? A trophy of your
win.
Of your win. Well, here, that's it. You know, we don't have to fight. I'll give it to you if that's the case." And I just love that. I loved where just Richard was like, we don't have to fight.
Richard is the greatest big brother.
Yeah.
That you could ever like really want, and and that's the reason why I really like their Batman Robin, because that's kind of what they became. They became brothers, and even when Batman comes back, and then Dick goes back to being Nightwing, and Batman comes back, and then Damian falls in with Bruce. He hates it. He really doesn't like being with Bruce. He's like, I miss being teamed up with Dick.
Yeah, and it's something that follows throughout the whole history of Damian and Richard's careers as superheroes, because there's a point where even Damian stops being Batman's Robin, Bruce Wayne's Robin, and just goes off on his own.
And he goes to be the Titans.
He goes with the Titans, and then there's also a time where I think it was like after Alfred died, he goes off on his own to become his own little superhero. And Richard comes up to him, and he goes, "Listen, Bruce, you're not Bruce's Robin. You're my Robin. Yeah, you're my Robin. You're my first Robin, and I have a relationship with you that I feel like I need to protect you, and I need to be there for you and stuff like that." And it's so great. That's such a good dynamic, and I hope they don't explore that, but I hope they bring in Richard Grayson in this new Batman movie, or at least establish Nightwing.
I feel like you have to. I feel like if you just have Dick Grayson and he's there, I feel like you need that conflict
Yeah.
between the two, because that is some of the best conflicts between Damian and Wayne is the conflict between the brothers.
Yeah.
Because that is what it is. It's
Yeah.
conflict between four brothers of Damian's fighting with Jason and then Jason's fighting with Tim, and then Tim is taking Dick Grayson's side. All about an argument or about like how to take on this bad guy.
Yeah.
And then like it's always really funny whenever they're like, oh, all right, whatever we do, we're not telling Bruce.
Yeah.
Like
Well, it's great because like in the Nightwing comic book that I'm reading right now in the new run, it's so great, it's so beautiful. There's actually a Bat Family chat text chat, and it's so great. You get to see it in the comic book, and there's one part when Dick Grayson gets inherited some money from Alfred after he dies, so he becomes like a new billionaire. And he goes with Barbara. Barbara and him are trying to reestablish their relationship. They go off and they get food, and they go to a pizza stand and stuff. And there's like two just street kids that walk by him, and he's walking up. He goes, "I'll take 2 slices of pizza, please." She goes, "Wait, you're a billionaire. Like, why are you ordering 2?" He goes, "You're right. 4 slices of pizza, please," and stuff. And he reaches for his wallet, and he's like patting.
You can't find it?
He can't find it. She goes, "Don't tell me that
You don't
someone
have a wallet."
it's just someone just pickpocketed you right now." She goes, "Don't tell the family." And she goes, she's on her phone. She goes, "I already did." And stuff. And it's so good. You see like everyone just texting the group.
Like somebody just robbed Robin.
Like, hey, someone just robbed Dick right now. And then Tim Drake comes to Bloodhaven, and he sees Dick after that whole incident and stuff, and he goes, "Hey, this is a present from Bruce," and he opens it up. It's a chained wallet. He goes, so you don't lose your next one.
That's great.
So good, and I love that in the comics now they are establishing the Bat Family in that way,
And that they're just a real they're an oddball group.
It's an oddball group, and it's its own little separate thing, and like I'll be happy just to have that. But yeah, I'm really excited to see what the Brave and the Bold will hold in this. I'm wondering if we're gonna just get how they're gonna introduce Damian, who are they gonna cast as this new Batman. Some people are saying they want Jensen Ackles because he voices the Batman.
Jensen Ackles as a Batman would be awesome.
He's what, he fits the age where I would believe he is not too young but he's not too old of that Batman.
Like Batman's been around. He's been around for a little while, but he's not super old. And he's got some city miles on him, and he can really pull off that playboy.
Yeah.
And he's fun.
He's fun. Jensen Ackles loves to have fun.
Not only that, but also I think that a lot of the times there's a lot of moments in the movies that they don't capture the fact that Batman does have a sense of humor. Like he is kind of funny.
Yeah.
Like he's funny, and he likes making fun of especially the Bat Family. He loves making fun of the Robins. He thinks it's hilarious when stuff like that happens. Yeah. Or what was it? Or even inside the video game, the Gotham Knights that just came out, where all of them are making fun of Bruce because he's being uber serious in this funeral video that he's taking, and they're all behind him just going like, "I'm Batman."
Yeah.
And they're all like, "Oh, super serious." Yeah.
So great. I'm hoping they get someone that can do both. They can do lighthearted, but then also very stern and serious. We'll see. We'll see in the next few years to come. That moving forward, we get our first Supergirl movie, which is Woman of Tomorrow, this science fiction adventure.
I actually didn't notice that it said Grant Morrison. They're basing it off of Grant Morrison.
Oh, yeah, his introduction to...
That's Dick Grayson and Jason Todd.
Yeah.
So they might be.
They might be, which would be interesting. That's another thing, too. In the Supergirl series, it will be based on Tom King's amazing award-winning recent comic stories, presents a Supergirl viewers are not used to seeing. So in this one, in the storyline of Woman of Tomorrow, instead of Supergirl being shot out to Krypton before it gets destroyed, is that she does get shot out, but then is stranded on a asteroid, and she's stuck. And she's already in like of age. She's not younger. She's not older. She's like a teenager.
She's already like 18, 20.
18, 20, and she sees Krypton gets destroyed. Oh. She witnesses it. And it starts affecting her, and then she crashes down to Earth, and then we meet her with Superman and stuff like that. And she's very, very dark, but she's very.
Isn't that the one with Darkseid?
Yes.
They recently did a animated movie about it.
Yes, with I think that's what they loosely based it on with Tom King's. Tom King is a good writer. He's very interesting. He's written so many good stories along the way. He's written stuff for like Rorschach, for the Watchmen comic book. Also a lot of stuff for Black series as well too.
Because they did that for the Supergirl movie that came out pretty recently. I remember watching it where she comes down, she has like PTSD, and then Darkseid tries to recruit her, and they go to Themyscira to train her on how to fight and how to use her powers properly.
So that's where I think it's loosely going to be based off of. You know, her world views are she's much more cynical when it comes to how she sees the world and how she sees Earth and stuff like that. She's very jaded.
I think it's also she sees how futuristic and how ahead Krypton was.
Yeah,
and she remembers how Krypton was. Where when she lands, it's very much like, oh, I landed in the prehistoric era.
Yeah,
like they're
on Krypton we were more advanced than this.
We were way more advanced. Oh, these monkeys don't know how to do specific things, or these things, or they don't have the right tools or the robots or anything like that. So I'm interested in seeing it. I think that Supergirl is a story that we don't get often and that isn't portrayed enough. Melissa Benoist just finished off her tenure as Supergirl.
Oh,
okay. She finished it off at the CW about 2 years ago with hers, and that was pretty cool. Where Supergirl, she did her whole thing and everything like that, and you have this thing where she grows up on Earth from being a young girl, and I actually really like that one because Bob Kane is her dad.
Oh, that's funny. Oh,
yeah. Wow. I mean, not Bob Kane, Dean Kane.
Oh, Dean
Kane.
Oh, okay.
Dean Kane is her dad, and then the original Supergirl is her mom.
Oh.
From the 80s.
From the 80s, or
from the 80s Supergirl TV show.
Didn't they have the actress that played Supergirl in Smallville on that show at some point?
Yeah. And then they also had Wonder Woman on it too.
Oh, that's right. Linda Carter.
Yeah, Linda Carter was also on it as the president.
That's funny.
And so, so they have all these cool little tiny things, but but they did a great job on showing how cool Supergirl could be from Superman, and I really want to see them pull off Supergirl really, really well. They're already having her inside the Flash. The only thing I'm kind of iffy about is I'm wondering if whether or not this Supergirl is going to be our new Supergirl.
So we'll see, I guess, in the end of the Flash movie, we'll see if they decide to keep this Supergirl and that's who they use for this one. Because it seems like she's the Supergirl in the Flash series, or in the Flash movie, is more of like the Superman in Flashpoint comic book, where she crash lands and then the government found her, keep her under wraps for so many years and stuff like that. So that's the direction they're going with for at least Supergirl in the Flash movie. Yes. So we'll see where they go. Maybe they'll recast her in this one.
Yeah, I mean that's the only thing though, is that that's the problem with this entire thing though, is that there's a lot of actors who are, they were like, man, I can't wait to play more Supergirl or more Batman, and then it's going to be like, oh.
Well, the original idea before the James Gunn or even the Discovery buyout, before that even happened, when the Flash movie was still in development, because the director that directed the Flash movie also directed it Chapter 1 and 2. Yeah. The original plan was that Supergirl and Batgirl were supposed to be replacing Ben Affleck and Henry Cavill as the world's finest duo.
That was also the plan in the CW as well when Arrow and Flash were leaving, is that it was going to be Batwoman and Supergirl,
which would have been cool. But because of recent events of the cancellation of Batgirl, and then also with finding out Ezra Miller has a terrible person, and then also with Warner Brothers being bought by Discovery, a lot of things are changing up now. So we'll see where this future of Supergirl and who's going to play this Woman of Tomorrow character. And then moving on.
And then the last thing is just going to be Swamp Thing.
Yeah, Swamp Thing. That's pretty much it. If you don't know Swamp Thing, he is a creature. A dark creature with dark stories. He was introduced by Alan Moore. He wrote the early renditions of Swamp Thing. If you don't know Alan Moore, he also wrote Watchmen, V for Vendetta, and stuff like that. So he's a very dark character. He's mostly beard. Yeah, he doesn't want to acknowledge anything that gets adapted to.
Yeah, so he probably doesn't care about Swamp Thing.
Yeah.
So the television product. So they're going to do television projects for HBO Go just to go through them.
HBO,
yeah. So it's going to be a 7-episode series of Creature Commanders,
which is basically it's Suicide Squad, but with more weirder characters of the DC universe.
Yeah, so it's going to be Amanda Waller creating a Black Ops team out of monstrous prisoners. Gunn wrote all the episodes of the first season.
So this is an animated show, and anyone that we see from both live action or animated will be in throughout the DC universe. I just saw that one of the characters that we'll be getting in this Creature Commandos is a Rick Flag Sr.
His dad?
His dad, yes. We're going to get Rick Flag's father in the Creature Commandos.
That's
show.
interesting.
So at any point, if we see a Rick Flag Sr. in a live action, it'll be the same voice actor. Same guy. Okay, then the next one is going to be Waller. It's going to be Viola Davis starring. Series featuring a team, the series features Team Peacemaker and will be written by Crystal Henry. She also wrote the HBO series Watchmen. And Jeremy Carver, which also worked on Supernatural, which is cool.
He was also a writer on Supernatural. Another TV show that they're going to be working on is Booster Gold.
Yes.
Where Booster Gold is, he basically is from the future, and he took technology from the future that is basic technology that everybody has, then came back into the past and became a superhero using it.
So basically, Booster Gold
became famous.
Yeah, Booster Gold realizes that he doesn't have a life in the future, and he thought the best way to become something is dress up as a superhero and go to the past and try to establish himself as a superhero in present day, which is interesting. A lot of people are saying that Chris Pratt might be cast as Booster Gold, and I am not mad at that.
Chris Pratt?
I will not be mad at that, honestly. I can see that.
Chris Pratt would be a funny one.
Yeah.
To do.
Or even the actor that played Hangman wants his name in the running for a Booster Gold.
Hangman
from Top Gun Maverick.
He would be but honestly, I want him for Hal Jordan.
Same.
I really want him for Hal Jordan.
Which is the next.
Yeah, which is the next one. So Lanterns, the enormous, the TV series is going to be following an intergalactic cops Jon Stewart and Hal Jordan as they uncover a dark mystery.
So James Gunn has said this is basically like True Detective, but in space.
In which I'm
interesting.
in.
Yes,
I'm so in.
Yeah,
because True Detective is awesome. Jon Stewart and Hal Jordan, they don't really get along.
No,
in the comics.
No, they don't.
Because
Jon Stewart is a military man. He's very stern. He's very proper.
But so is Hal Jordan.
But Hal Jordan's more of a laid back kind of guy. He's more.
The thing is that it's okay. One is a Marine and one is from the Air Force.
Yes,
that is 100%. That's 100% the difference. Of Jon Stewart fought in a war, and Hal Jordan's a pilot.
Yeah.
And that's 100% it. Where Jon Stewart will kind of like no matter what, this is what needs to get done, and I'm a military man, and we have to do it like this. And he's also an architect.
I'm thinking it's like Lethal Weapon.
Ooh,
it's like that.
But Hal Jordan is the
Riggs.
No, I kind of want Jon Stewart to be Riggs.
Really?
The only reason I want because for one, switch it up, but also because Jon Stewart is supposed to be the newbie. He's supposed to be the rookie.
Okay.
Because I could see him being the new rookie, and him following everything to the letter, and Hal Jordan as being the Green Lantern that's been there a while, and him kind of going like, "Oh man, you're so stuck up," and everything like that. Like you got to relax. You know, that's.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah.
Like he's a veteran where he's he's already seen some stuff. He's already taken on Parallax once. You know, he's kind of he's got a big head.
Yeah.
But Hal Jordan's doing everything. I mean, Jon Stewart's doing everything to the book.
Yeah. Okay, I'm really interested in seeing how Lanterns go. They so this will obviously, I think they said, Lanterns will introduce anything that happens in the more deeper space of the DC universe.
Well, the thing is that Jon Stewart and Hal Jordan, they're saying that it's taking place in Milky Way. So it's taking place in our universe, and I think like one more universe that they're in charge of, because that's what they're technically in charge of. They're in charge of our universe. So that would be like Themyscira. I mean, not Themyscira. That would be like what was it, like all like Mars or
Yeah.
anywhere else, you know,
Mhm.
technically the Green Lanterns are in charge of patrolling those planets
Mhm.
and everything else. And then the last one is Paradise Lost. This one is going to be in Themyscira, the home of the Amazons and birthplace of Wonder Woman. This drama focuses on the genesis and political intrigue of the island of all women.
So he said this is basically like Game of Thrones. But
It's
with
like
DC
their version of
characters,
Game of Thrones, yeah.
which is interesting because House of Dragon's really good. Most of Game of Thrones was good up until the last season and stuff like that.
You know what? But I'm okay with Paradise because Paradise Lost sounds like it'd be really, really interesting, especially if it's just women. Dealing with women and them dealing with the gods.
Yeah.
Because then you could start adding in that Greek mythology. Because in DC Universe the gods are real, and Zeus and
Zeus,
everybody else,
Ares,
and them making new new Amazons and everything else. That really could make things pretty interesting and fun.
Definitely.
So I can definitely see where that's coming from. I'm interested in seeing how that show kind of plays out and everything else. The last things is that they're unsure about what's going on with Ezra Miller. They're saying that he's seeking help.
Yeah, they're really so. This is something that we don't necessarily agree with. It seems like they are not necessarily
cutting him off,
canning him. But I think James Gunn has an idea of what he wants to do with Ezra Miller. I think he knows that he can't continue. I fully believe that James Gunn knows I can't use him in the future of the DC universe.
There is no future for you, but I can still use you in something.
Yeah.
I can. There's still use for you yet, but I'm not canning you just yet.
The easiest solution to kind of like write off Ezra Miller is just change his face at the end of the Flash movie.
That's 100% the easiest way to fix
That's
this.
the easiest, simple, and you know what? We won't question it. We wouldn't even hate it. We would be like, all right, that's it. No more Ezra.
Yeah, it would. I'm still 100% on the thing of just change him into Grant Gustin and nobody would complain.
No one would complain. I wouldn't care either. Just do it just change Ezra Miller because honestly, he's not gonna sell any more movies. That's the thing.
Yeah, that's the thing though. And then the other problem is also Zachary Levi. Zachary Levi he really got a lot of bad press right now, and they're trying.
What is up with DC?
I don't know.
Like,
but that's the thing though, is that Zachary Levi, I was really surprised when I heard like Zachary Levi, anti-vaxxer, and all these other things, and I was like, oh my god, when was this? Like,
so apparently,
bro,
there are some people that are like also talking about bad experiences with Zachary Levi. Apparently, they're talking about like same thing how Lea Michele, the actress from Glee.
Yeah.
They're saying that like, I just had a bad experience with him and stuff, and this is what happened. Some people were like, one person in particular said they went to a Broadway musical. He was part of it, and he wasn't nice to the audience at all after the show and stuff like that. They wanted to get his autograph, and he was very kind of like, no, sorry, guys.
See, but the thing is that also I feel like people are very demanding of those movie stars. So whenever I hear, they were very rude to other people and everything else, I do, especially like after a long day.
That's the thing.
I really do take that with a grain of salt, just because of the idea of, you don't know what that guy did all day. You don't know how tired he was, or I just want to go home.
I get annoyed very easily. So I mean, people that come into the store, will see or have witnessed my sourness at the end of the day. On a long day, I'm so that's why it's like at the same time, I don't blame actors when they act like that. I don't.
But putting out like false narratives or
overstretching the truth.
Because
like
that was the whole controversy, right? Zachary Levi coming out as a anti-vaxxer.
He liked a tweet that someone said, and it didn't necessarily said anti-vaccine. It was a tweet saying people shouldn't be forced to get the vaccine. And he said, I completely agree with this, which again,
it's not saying that that's not saying
it's not
that.
Saying, but when people see that, it is a big thing. And again,
he made people are making
the thing is though,
conclusion. Yeah.
The thing is that when you're a celebrity, when you have a following, when you have some sort of outlet, 9 times out of 10, I'm always telling myself, well, just keep that stuff to yourself. If it's gonna be a problem, if it's gonna be a problem when you tell your opinion on certain things, people are going to take it the wrong way.
Yeah,
regardless if it's left or right.
I always go with that just because it's Twitter seems to get people in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
Just because, because you tweet stuff that is like on the top of your head, and then you're like, this is a good tweet, and then it's gonna get retweets, or it's gonna get shared or something like that because it's kind of controversial and everything like that.
The same thing, and I said in the group chat, the same thing happened with the actress that plays Shuri.
Yeah,
she went to an anti-vaxxer rally, and she held production for the Black Panther 2 because she wouldn't get vaccinated right away.
If anything, that's worse.
That is worse.
That's far worse.
That's worse than tweet.
Yeah.
But the thing is that everyone just kind of like
forgot about that.
They swept that under the rug. And which is funny because it just shows you how long that will last.
It's gonna blow over.
It's gonna blow over by the movie coming out.
Because that was the thing though, is that people were putting Zachary Levi in the same breath as as Ezra Miller, and I was like, whoa, hey.
There's a difference from like gaslighting minors to just liking a tweet on Twitter.
There's a huge difference.
Yeah, that's a huge.
You
just like
he kidnapped someone.
You lead two different factions like of just terribleness in people.
He kidnapped a child.
He kidnapped a child from a reservation village and stuff.
Yeah, and then brought her back like 3 months later.
Yeah,
and it was just like, oh, you can have her back now. Like, okay.
Yeah, and didn't constantly assaulted a married couple throughout in Hawaii and stuff.
And like beat up like a bunch of patrons refused to pay your bill.
What we're saying is that you shouldn't necessarily
put them in the same breath.
And then also just jump at someone's throat when they state an opinion, depending on what that statement is.
Because I do understand. I'm not saying that I agree with what the tweet said.
Yeah.
But I do understand the point of view of it is your choice. It's your choice.
Me and Bryan have talked about that in the early renditions of the podcast. Is that if you want to get vaccinated, that's your choice. If you don't want to get vaccinated, that is your choice. It's your freedom.
It's your freedom as an American to be an idiot.
Yes, basically.
And you know what?
I mean, we'll say here we're all three of us are fully vaccinated.
Yeah, even the cardboard was vaccinated.
Yeah, the cardboard was vaccinated as well too.
But that's the thing though, is that you and we're not a political podcast.
We're not trying to get into that.
But I do feel that it's weird whenever they're trying to compare the two together, going like, oh yeah, Ezra Miller needs to get fired, and so does Zachary Levi, and I was like, oh.
I will say this: I feel like people need to realize that most actors, and I said it in the group chat, most actors are sometimes leaning towards the more right wing
or more Republican.
We're more Republican because, again, at the end of the day, they make money and they worry. They're part of the
taxes.
And they worry about where their money's going.
Yeah.
Like
so I mean, food for thought.
Yeah.
Take that with whatever you will. And because people were getting mad at James Gunn too, of going like, how are you protecting these people?
Yeah.
And it was like, and I can only imagine James Gunn just kind of going like,
I gave you a slate.
You're never happy. You're never happy. What is wrong with you people? This doesn't even concern me.
Yeah.
Like, I wasn't there when he liked the tweet. Like,
I didn't put him like, you know what, you should like that tweet, man. Say your truth.
Like, how is this my fault?
Yeah.
Like, what am I supposed to do? And they're like, you should fire him right now. And they're like, for liking a tweet?
For just liking a tweet?
Like, what?
I mean, he was in underwater for his tweets as well, too. These were old tweets he put out.
For James Gunn?
James Gunn, remember?
Well, that's the whole reason why he did Suicide Squad.
Yeah, that's the thing.
A while ago. So, I mean, I feel like across the board at DC and Marvel and everything like that, everybody just goes, get off Twitter. Just everybody stop.
Yeah,
just get off Twitter.
I feel like that needs to
stop.
Be in your contract. Hey, if you're going to portray these characters.
It needs to go through 4 people for review. Like at least 4 to 3 people to review the tweet before it gets shipped out.
Have your assistant like mirror your Twitter. Like have them log into your Twitter as well too. So in case you put something, they see it, they get a notification. Nope, delete that.
No, because it was even if it was there for a second, someone saw it.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, you've told me that.
No, I'm telling you right now. Just it's a quick review. Just going like, hey man, you think that's a good idea, or sending it to your publicist and going, hey man, this is a quick tweet I'm planning on putting out. What do you think
just
about
as a
it?
celebrity, just don't. don't post anything.
Yeah,
on Twitter.
man,
Don't
like-
stay off of Twitter.
Yeah,
guys.
just pay someone to do it. And
Twitter never works. No, Twitter never works out for any celebrity at all.
I haven't seen where they were like, oh, it's a good thing he was on Twitter.
Yeah, no, I've never seen that. I think the only time.
I mean, Mark Ruffalo got in trouble for being on Twitter live, and you know,
Yeah.
because he gave away like the first 15 minutes
Yeah.
of Ragnarok.
Twitter is not for your own person. Have a dummy account, if anything.
Yeah, and
And-
don't call it you.
Yeah, don't call it yourself. Just say user number 63 for that's it.
Yeah, I
But
just
that's
think
the
it's
thing.
funny. Okay,
All
but
right.
anyway, we're going a little long on this one.
Yeah.
But you know, let us know what you guys are excited about. Let us know
Yes.
how exactly what you guys are, how exactly you want to see the new slate. What are you hoping happens in all these things? Are you
Mhm.
excited that Damian Wayne's going to be our new Robin? You know, what do you think about seeing the Peacemaker group back and everything else? Like always, you can always find us at on our social medias, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, everything out at Keeping Up with the Nerds. And then you can also find us at our website, keepingupwiththenerds.com, where we have the Nerdy Planet and everything and all of that. You can go ahead and see all of our news clippings and our pictures and different stuff. And also episodes do go up on there as well. So go ahead and check it out over there. You can find me and Rene at our social medias. Those are all at the bottom. And everything else.
Don't forget, guys, if you're watching this on YouTube, hit that like button and hit subscribe so you can see when all of our videos go out. And,
Absolutely. And
if you're listening to our audio platforms, go ahead and give us a like and a follow as well, too.
yeah, and share it to your friends.
Yeah.
Also, be sure to tune in for tomorrow for our Real Addiction. They're going to be talking about. They're going to be. I think that we're kind of going to talk about the DC slate
They will
again.
touch on to that, and I think mostly they are talking about possibly, I think, whatever movies they saw for the week and stuff like that. They'll be also touching on Last of Us as well too. So that's gonna happen, and then I think I'm trying to think what else came out this week that they would.
I think they were also. Did they talk about Midnight? They talked about Midnight Sun last week, did
Yes.
So go check them out. They come out tomorrow at noon. We really like them. They're a fun group of guys. So yeah, go check them out. Let them know that we sent you and everything else. Rene, you ready to finish this out? Let's finish it out.
This has been Keeping Up with Nerds, issue 134. My name is Rene.
This is Nick.
Signing off from Underspeak Comics. We'll see you all